Okay, guys, as I'm sure you've seen quite a bit of buzz on some new products from these guys so far. We've got Jaime here to kind of intro you as to what they're talking about.
Great. Thanks, Mike. Hi, everybody. So we wanted to kind of show off what's finally coming to market. It's been long anticipated, our multi-point products coming out. So first we kind of wanted to show what we've been calling the A5 360 up until now, and what we really wanted to make sure people could really see what's going on inside of the radio. What people have been calling it, it's not an Omni, because it's not an Omni. Other people have been pointing at the Quamni radio, because there's quad panels on the inside. What this is letting us do for the first time is really get directional radiation, and also the ability for us to not have to hear interference from the wrong side of the radio, and enable multi-user MIMO. So this is the first time it's been out. It's coming out in 2 weeks in 2 different sizes. The 14 dBi for very short range. So typically that's going to be people in about a half a kilometer range, and then the bigger guy out to a little more than a mile, 2 miles. And then the C5 product that obviously comes along with that. So this has been in beta testing now for about 3.5 months, and this has been just a phenomenal process of kind of opening up a totally new market. So the suburban market, where you can compete with cable and DSL, I think is just a prime hunting ground for wireless ISPs to really, really grow. So we wanted to bring in one of our beta testers. He's been really fantastic about getting a huge number of clients up as fast as possible. So introduce Evan Galvin from XL Broadband.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Tell us about what you're doing.
Yes, it's great. We've got the A518 deployed right now with some C5s, and we actually just did 8 installs the other day. Getting added some people pretty quickly. It's been great working with these guys. They're available whenever you need them, and it's been just awesome. It's exciting allowing us to do things in the subdivisions now in the suburbs that we couldn't normally do before. We've mainly been doing rural areas like most of you, and we're offering 5 to 20 megs in the rural, but now we're offering 25 to 100 megs, and we're actually looking at other speed options too. We have some people set uncapped right now just for fun, and there's people posting speed tests of 300 megs on Facebook, and they're like, wow, I paid for 25 but I'm getting 300. It's pretty good, and it's awesome. So yeah, we're really excited about the product. It's going to be revolutionary, and it's going to help us finally get into the areas where there's the local cable and phone providers, or not even local, but just the phone and cable providers, and give us a competitive advantage where we don't have to dig ditches and trenches and try to bring in cables underground. We can do the same speed, actually exceed those speeds wirelessly.
So how far are you going on the 18 with most of your shots?
Right now, we're hitting, the farthest one out is 0.58 miles, and it's at a negative 49, so it's really good. So we would like to still try to keep in as tight as possible, and then just add more of these as needed.
Yeah, when we envisioned these, this was really looking at this market very specifically, and we put a ton of technology to use AGC and squelching technology. So the goal here is be 10 dB above the signal, the noise level, and you will win. So you get close to your customer, you will always have a full rate customer, and you'll be able to use 80 megahertz channels. And a lot of people don't believe they have 80 megahertz channels, but they've never tried this model. This model lets you ride above almost any noise in that environment. And it has GPS sync, so except for Mike Hammett, and then he wants to talk about SFPs, I'm sure too. Yeah. But so yeah, it's a pretty astounding deployment once you get in that tight, and you're really getting down to a couple hundred meters in a lot of cases from your customer, and that really lets you get, even if there's Wi-Fi in the neighborhood from Comcast and other stuff. It's been phenomenal in the neighborhoods we've been doing this with all the beta sites.
Yeah, exactly. And in the rural areas, we're using more spectrum with the multiple sectors than we're using now, so it's great.
Yeah, the GPS sync is coming out on this one over at the end of the summer. So right now we're running what we call Wi-Fi interrupt mode. So that means that you can turn off your TDMA protocols on certain radios that are Wi-Fi based that you've deployed for many, many years, and it's totally compatible with 11N based solutions. So you can have Mimosa clients running 80 megahertz channels, and you can let the other guys go at lower channels and be interoperating. So that's a great migration strategy to go from 11N to an AC solution that has a top end with GPS sync on the other side of it, so you can keep adding radios without having to add channels.
So if you're in an environment that, say, you've got incredible noise floors, an Omni, even though it is 490s, but you're still looking for something a little tighter. What are you looking at with that?
So just getting down to tighter beam widths?
Yeah.
Yeah, so with the tighter beam widths, a lot of people remember that we originally started off going after a 90-degree sector market for towers and poles. And we heard a lot of feedback that was like, it's a really cool idea. Beamforming is like really going to change the industry because we get 3 dB of gain and starting aiming radiation to kind of keep things less noisy, so to speak. So we decided that the best thing for us to do was actually just to go connectorized and get total flexibility in that. So we also introduced another product this week that'll be shipping in May called the A5C, and we'll get that on video in a few seconds here for you. But that also is in partnership with some new antennas. So now we've got 4 connected radios. We need 4 connected antennas. So we've been working with KP Performance to do these massive MIMO arrays of 4 antenna radios and 8 antenna radios, all in the same directionality, and that lets us do beamforming. And now you get the flexibility of choosing different beam widths from the antenna vendors. So I think that's going to be really popular with traditional WISPs coming off of towers and poles. You're going to be able to get the GPS sync on that, and now you're going to be able to do back-to-back channels on these sectors. It's really beautifully designed for that.
Sure. Evan, in your deployment that you've done with them so far, you've used the Omnis
Yeah, we've got A518 deployed right now, and we've got another site for the 14 ready to go too soon.
Okay, and then on those, are you doing those in a typical, tower, 180-foot deployments, or are you doing like Rory's been advocating for years and going, roof level?
Yes, yeah, we're going low right now. We've got the A518 sitting at about 55 feet, right on a silo. It's across the street from this neighborhood. And then, but the little one here, we're looking to put it up on a rooftop. Get right in the heart of it, so we can take advantage of the sectors on all 4 sides.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, it's great.
Yeah, the other one that's coming out, so next month we'll start going into beta testing on our B5C GPS sync multi-point. So everything in the Mimosa product line is going multi-point. And the B5 series will actually be the first thing that gets TDMA sync. So by May timeframe, that'll be shipping in production, a free software upgrade to B5C users. Connect them up to sectors. One of the cool things I'm advocating now heavily is dual channel diversity for clients in multi-point. So the B5C provides that natively. I can have a channel A and a channel B. We all know that every client has different noise diversity issues. So this is going to let you put 2 channels into a sector, and that's something that we can also do with our A5C product line by feeding the 8 connector antenna with 2 A5Cs. A bit more costly solution there with more capacity, but the B5C does that natively. So a lot of people are really excited about that, since it's going to be, when you start to go denser and you start to see different noise in different places, I think you'll find that having multiple channels is going to be the way that we all have to operate, so that we can guarantee we can get a much broader set of customers.
Yeah. And Evan, I know, just because you're like an hour and change from me, your coverage, it's going to more rural areas, but how close do you come up into the suburban developments, and are you deploying this more urban or more suburban?
Right now, it's more suburban. There's some right where our coverage lies, right when the suburbs of Chicago stop, and then the rural starts. So we're actually just starting to hit those pockets, but this opens up. We can start going even more into the suburbs now, which is really awesome. Yeah, this opens up a lot of possibilities.
The key demographics I've been looking at really are like towns that are like 500 to 800 homes per square kilometer, and like you can look it up on Wikipedia, and you can kind of see different cities and suburbs and what their densities are. And of course that that spreads out from the city center to be a little less dense as you go out. But that seems to be like the sweet spot of where subdivision kind of stuff densities is really like where that's at the edge of the town where the DSL guy and the cable guy decided to ignore. So
and then. Just got an idea from that. Take it and credit me if you will. Is you've got a fancy plan, so you keep adding stuff to it. Could take block data, and you have another layer on your map that says show us these show us these prime areas to target.
Yeah, that's actually where we want to go with this next, because we have all the mapping data. Like we're at a point now where we can, just like we did with the cloud tools for licensing coordination. We have really advanced mapping technology that tells us all sorts of opportunity for delivering bandwidth. Now let's do opportunity for identifying where there's money to be made. So let's find the weak incumbents and help advise where those are. So you shouldn't have to drive around the neighborhood to figure that out. And it's great to use Facebook to figure it out. You see everybody complaining about a cable provider there. I think that's a great way to do it. But I think we could probably in this day and age, do some data analytics and like light up dollar signs on maps with a nice little green cover area for you. But,
exactly.
Evan's done tremendously with his marketing skills over the past couple of years. I first heard him maybe 2 years ago, and it was like, who the fuck's this Evan guy? Yeah. And now it's like, now here he is. He's the poster child for for the best multi-point platform, and it's just because he's been able to execute so well in his area.
That's why we pick betas like these. Like I think we've gotten some really hard workers. I mean, putting up 15, 20 radios and having customers that are willing to do it right when we can say we can get you the equipment. It's been a fantastic job. But that meant he was prepped for months, making sure he was ready to attack that subdivision. And he's had some great stories once he uncapped people. Like he's getting viral comments from people. This is now fiber speed, and that's amazing that it keeps him protected from somebody else going into that neighborhood, probably, because now it's expensive and hard to get people off of something that's way lower cost than delivering fiber. But it's been pretty cool to see what they've been doing. He's got his truck drivers and installers and people chasing him down the street saying, "I want your internet," which is just hysterically funny.
It is. Yeah, our tech was saying that the other day. He's like, he couldn't even leave the subdivision. He's like, I can't leave. I've been stuck here for 45 minutes. Got another guy's flagging him down on his way out, and it's pretty funny. It's the hype is building big time. So it's great working with these guys. I mean, we've been able to just come up with a plan, execute, and then we're just looking forward to just keep and repeat.
Good. Yeah, it's and I'll you keep working on that way, and I'll keep working on them on SFPs and and all the other things that I hold dear to heart.
You got one SFP from me this year, so we'll keep working on it.
But alrighty, well, I know Evan's a busy guy, so we'll let him go off. Thank you for your time, and we'll go through some of the product tours.
Thanks guys. Thanks. Take it easy. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, thanks. So we got the A5. All right, so more of my awesome camera deleting skills need to be invoked, but please resume, Jamie.
Yeah, no problem. So what we've got here, of course, is for our longer range traditional wireless ISP, towers, poles, etc. The new A5C. We decided that having only the 90-degree option was probably not as flexible as many WISPs want, that have really kind of tightened up their sectors and gotten closer to their customers. So this is really our GPS sync solution for towers, and along with these 4x4 radios, of course, means we now need 4 connector antennas. So to do that, we needed to get some pretty aggressive designs for being able to do sync, and also making sure we get the right kind of antennas for doing antenna beamforming. So the really magical thing that we've got now is we get that extra 3 dB of gain out of the antennas because the Mimosa radio is doing the beamforming, talking to the antennas in KP. So they specifically designed these for us. We have 2 different types of antennas, a 4 connector and an 8 connector solution. The 4 connector is pretty obvious what it does, and it's a 65-degree beam width and 17.5 dBi. The 8 connector is a very different type of deal where we can attach 2 A5Cs to the back of the product, and I can run them in either hot standby mode or channel A and channel B mode to give diversity and have multiple channels within the same sector. That saves tower space, obviously, if you're paying for linear footage on the tower. I think it's a great, nice compact solution for that. So they've priced these really, really aggressively, I think, versus other stuff that they brought out in the past to really get good with these deployments here. For the A5C, it's $439 for the X4, and it's $699 for the X8, and of course, for the A5C, that is a $699 price point on that as well for the radio. So you get a 1.5 gigabit radio in there, and also a ton of great features like rate limiting and shaping and features like that inside the radio. There's a multi-gigabit processor to do all that stuff in there. So we will be introducing a ton of features in this platform to make it really, really easy to add subscribers.
Sweet, yeah. lost track when you were describing. What's the beam width on the 8?
They're all 65.
Okay,
So
all 65.
The cool thing about it is like now, you're really just connecting up 2 sets of radios, but it is just 8 antennas, so all vertical, horizontal. And what that's going to let me do is, these things are obviously starting to look like an octopus by the time you have all the cables on these things. That's going to let us be ready to go. Right now we're on 4x4 and doing 2 4x4s, but as everybody knows, we're already working on 8x8 technology in our building, getting that readied for end of next year, I'm sure. So that makes it really, really easy for us to just add in more streams and more spectral efficiency.
Sweet, yeah. So then I know lots of WISPs in the past few years have been complaining about how people are measuring the antennas, whether it's 3 dB or 6 dB.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't give a crap how you measure them as long as the edge is clean.
Right.
You're saying 65. Does that mean that I need 5 3/4 sectors to complete my
5 3/4? I don't know. I think people do a little bit of overlap, but I mean, you're channel to channel. You're obviously not going to be adjacent channel, adjacent sectors on the same channel. Of course not. But yeah, you should be getting the 6 on there and be in good shape. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I know that in the LT world they say it's a 65-degree antenna.
Yeah.
But use 3. I'm like, well, then what do I do with everything else?
Yeah.
And
exactly.
And ultimately, they end up having some.
We actually show all the overlap patterns on the KP Performance website. So all that stuff's up there. So if you go to their homepage, they'll have the Mimosa link right there, and you'll be able to see what's going on with that antenna and see the patterns and see them overlaid as well. So pretty easy.
Sounds great. Is there anything else that you've got for us? Or is
no, I think that's it. I talked a little bit about the B5C coming out with multi-point, so just get ready for that in May. You guys are all going to get a free software upgrade for your B5s. 131 software came out yesterday, bringing 53 dBm back to the B5, so we're getting a lot more distance, and because of that power on the B5 product. So totally happy that the whole industry came together and got that done. We were able to quickly turn that around and get that released.
Oh yeah, that's definitely it's the only one I've seen that has that available so far. And actually, I've seen some of the other vendors say that they can't do it, and it's like, well, somebody else on their forum had said, well, these guys already did. What do you mean you can't?
Well,
so,
I think people actually also started to go redesign their radios for out-of-band emission stuff, which is unfortunate. We just had to turn our power down, but we weren't doing any filtering to make out-of-band emissions limits better. That ended up being just a fortunate decision that we didn't have anything else in there that was going to block anything. So it made it far easier for us to get that up. Just a simple change there. So yeah.
Good. Well, as always, thank you for your time.
Yep. And one more thing I forgot to show you. A lot of people have been asking about this. This is our C5C, so this is the connectorized client. That'll be coming out in May for $119. So while we have the integrated client with 20 dBi, this lets us get you connect up to your favorite dish, and you'll be able to do long range. So just everybody's been asking about that, so just wanted to make sure you get that included.
So I've been deploying my B5Cs with 2-foot Juris dishes, and so this would look work great with their 1.5 foot version.
Yep. And for those that like Snap-on products, you can just drop it right into a mount. So.
All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.